Hi, friends. This is not how I wanted to start off our very first session together virtually, but I couldn't help it. And I will be back to school later in the day, but I was unable to reschedule a doctor's appointment, and so I'm missing this. But Phyllis is downstairs, and she just needs you to kind of work and be quiet. If there's an emergency, of course, she's right there. But this should really be sufficient. Okay? Um, it's a self-portrait project, the very first one, and I have a few things to talk to you about, right? Think about your reality and make design choices that fit it. What does that mean? It means if you are in fencing, yoga, tutoring, your schedule after school is busier than your school day, then a work like this with lots of satin stitches, labor intensive work might not be your best choice. Okay? This is a successful piece. So is this one. This one doesn't have as much detail. This one ideally would have had a couple of more stitches. It just really has a running stitch and satin stitch, but we can talk about that when I'm back at class. But my point is, your design, your elements, you want to think about how much time do you have? Do you have enough time to finish it only in school? In which case, you're not going to fill in everything like this, or even this. Okay? So what I want you to do is think about your reality. Make choices that fit it. It's great to want to do the greatest thing, but if you don't have the time to do it, you're going to fail. And that's a failure that we don't have to have. We can have great success however you make your decision. That said, challenge yourself appropriately. If you go home and you don't do anything, well, and you like this idea of making a beautiful self-portrait, bring it home with you some days and work on it. If you have traveling on the weekends that you know you're in a car for hours, maybe you bring it home. And so you think of what is appropriate for yourself, okay? And look inward on that. One of my objectives for sixth grade is it's the first time in your lives you have enough experience in the world where you can start thinking about your lives different maybe from your parents or different from your teachers. You might have your own opinions on things because of your experiences, and you start making your own choices more meaningfully. And this is one of them. What is it that makes you you? How do you communicate that? And how much do you want to challenge yourself? And what does success look like for you? Okay? Think about that. All right, some specifics. All right, you're going to have a paper. It's a 10 by 10. You're also going to have a folder. You're going to put your names on it with the Sharpies. You'll write 6C. And I want you, at the end, to just slide your paper into the folder. It's not going to fit. Don't worry about it. It's just going to slide in, and you'll have a little stack. All right, make a list of as many elements that form you. And this should be hobbies, interests, and values that are important to you. Some students have picked food they like, pets that are dear to them, camps that they've gone to, or more value-oriented things like courage, friendship, kindness. How do you show that, right? So not everything translates the same way. A piece of sushi is way easier to depict than courage, or at least for some people. And after you have your lists, think of it this way. How do you have a successful list? What you want is someone who might know you really well to be able to look at all the lists on the table from all your students there and be able to pick yours out. That means there's something true in there that relates to you. After 10 minutes, and someone can set the timer on the iPad, right? Go around the table one at a time and share your list. one at a time. Don't repeat. So basically, whoever starts will say something. Don't comment. If you're inspired or it reminds you of something, write something down. The next person says, and you just keep going around. Eventually, some people are going to pass, and eventually, you may just have nothing left. Don't dominate the conversation, but also don't be so passive as to not contribute your wonderful ideas. Okay? You can pass, you can choose not to share, especially if it's really personal. And let yourself be reminded and inspired by each other. And after you get your full list, begin to make sketches of the elements that you want to include in your self-portrait. Okay, this one was made by Maisie. Okay, this is kind of a really ideal self-portrait. Maisie might have done a little work outside of school, but it's not so overall. She didn't fill in the face. She didn't fill in the book too much. She did a great job with cross-stitching up in that sun and great job with chain stitching in the hair. She also has 3 little elements that seem to be making up a family, right? So overall, there's quite enough going on in this piece. It's great craftsmanship, and she made a choice that was appropriate for her. Really nice detail there on the cross-stitch. Really nice detail here in some chain stitch and satin stitch for the lips. And this one's Avery's, and obviously camp is very important to her. She's got a camp symbol, some tents, a beautiful speedboat on the water below. And this took a long time. Satin stitch is the most labor-intensive stitch. You don't have to decide that now, right? You can always outline and then fill in if you have the time, all right? This one is Scarlett's. Really great job on the bunny with multiple colors. Super job on the soccer player. Really great craftsmanship on the satin stitch there. And really nice work in the braids with the chain stitch. Now, Scarlett doesn't have that many elements there. She has the portrait, a bunny, a soccer ball, and the soccer figure. But you can see the quality is so good that kind of becomes a very successful project. Here's a little detail. This one's Kisna's, and Kisna, didn't necessarily do as many stitches as I would have liked, but really did a good job on that hot pepper there. You can see a really hard thing to do is the Chelsea logo for the Premier League. He did an outline on that, probably didn't have time to fill it in, and that was a good choice. But if you take a look at that hair, really nice movement in it. Good job on a satin stitch and a French knot for the eyes. Satin stitch for the collar of the shirt. And, Kisna made a choice that this is a solid piece and it's successful. And this is one that is something that if you don't have a lot of time to take home with you, this is kind of where you're going to end up with a solid outline, some fill, and a really good composition, okay? So the homework that you have, okay, and write this down if you need to. This will be on your haiku, this video, so you can let that remind you. If you want to print out a picture of your face to trace, take a picture, bring it to the next class. If you want to have images as a resource or two to trace, okay, bring it in. I don't know why that auto-corrected that. Self-portraits, your face element, right? You're going to have to do your face. It can be done one of 3 ways. Observation. I'll give you a mirror from your mind. You're going to make a version of yourself as you do. Or 3, traced or copied from a picture. Okay? And if you don't want any pictures to work from, you have no homework. Okay? Friends, I look forward to seeing you next class. I am sorry I'm not with you, but please be on your best behavior and do great work and be ready to go for next class. Thank you.